Quickly, before we get into this video, it would mean a lot if you hit the subscribe button. We're getting so close to 1,000 subs, and I would really appreciate it. But anyways, let's get on to the video. Alright, it is prediction time. Francis Ngannou is taking on Anthony Joshua this weekend, the same day as UFC 299. Sean O'Malley versus Marlon Chito Vera 2. My predictions for that will be out on a Wednesday. And Your Majesty, as John Fury would call him, or Turkey Alashay, I think is his name, who pretty much runs boxing at this point, said that the winner of this fight will take on the winner of Francis Ngannou versus Alexander Usyk, which takes place in May. So if Francis does actually manage to get past Anthony Joshua, he will fight for a boxing title, which is ridiculous. But getting past Anthony Joshua is going to be a tough task. Now, I do expect a better version of Francis than the one that fought Tyson Fury. He got his debut out of the way. He has some in-ring boxing experience now. He knows he has the cardio to go 10 rounds as well. He's not coming off a 2-year layoff like he was for that fight. But at the same time, now there's 10 rounds of footage for Anthony Joshua and his team to study. Before, it was relatively unknown how Francis would look in a boxing ring, but now we have a good idea. I'm also expecting one of the best versions of Anthony Joshua. In his last fight against Otto Wallin, he looked better than he's had since like the Vladimir Klitschko fight. And I think part of that has to do with the training switch. I still stand by this opinion that Ben Davis is one of the best trainers in all of boxing. As good as Sugar Hill is, I thought it was a huge mistake for Tyson Fury to leave Ben out of his camp. AJ has the experience. He's a more technical boxer. He's one of the only guys that can match Ngannou's power. He's probably the most powerful guy Ngannou's ever fought besides maybe Derek Lewis and Stipe. He's also got a very good jab. He can work off his jab, stick behind it. We saw him use that jab very effectively in a lot of his fights, but especially the Andy Ruiz 2 fight, where he worked off his jab very well, kept Andy Ruiz out of range, kept him on the end of his jab. And against Tyson Fury, Ngannou really struggled with the jab and the 1-2s. Fury was bagging rounds just off his jab. He would throw out one jab, he would double up on it, he would throw jab, jab, cross, and he was just winning rounds with those straight shots. And part of that is because Francis has a pretty wide guard with his hands, and he doesn't really use too much head movement. As well, when he throws his hooks, he can throw them pretty wide, which leaves room for AJ to counter him with that right hand right down the center, which Tyson Fury did many times in their fight, especially off that left hook. So I think AJ will be able to employ a similar game plan where he can jab at Francis from a distance, keep him out of the pocket, because that's where Francis is the most dangerous, avoid those left hooks, counter him with the right straights. But Francis could switch into southpaw like he did in the Tyson Fury fight, which helped him shut off that jab because his lead hand is right there to parry, right there to block and hand fight, which makes it much harder to land your jab. It also makes it harder to set up that backhand cross. You have to use a lot more footwork to set it up, and AJ doesn't have the best footwork. It has gotten a lot better, and Francis doesn't have the best footwork either. So if Francis does switch into southpaw, it will be interesting to see who can control that outside foot position. I would lean towards AJ. I think his overall ring experience, his footwork advantage, and the fact that he just moves better than Francis, I think he will be able to control the outside foot position, and he has more experience against southpaws. I mean, he went 24 rounds with Alexander Usyk, but Francis could try and counter Joshua's right hand with a check left hook. He did it against Tyson Fury. Now, he was missing a lot, but once he did finally connect, he put Tyson to the canvas. Francis is such a hard, powerful puncher. We've seen him flatline people in MMA. He put Tyson Fury, who has an amazing chin, who has fought some of the hardest hitters like Deontay Wilder. He put that guy to the canvas with that left hook. And AJ doesn't have the best chin. We've seen him get dropped many times. He got dropped a lot against Andy Ruiz. Actually got TKO'd. He got dropped against Vladimir Klitschko. He got hurt a few times against Alexander Usyk, especially late in their first fight. And as I said, Francis hits really hard. If Francis lands one clean punch on AJ, I'm not sure AJ's getting up. If he lands that left hook he landed on Tyson Fury, I'm not sure AJ would recover from it. And Francis will exchange with AJ in the pocket, which does risk him getting knocked out because AJ also hits very hard. But Francis has an amazing chin. He has never been knocked out before, and he's taken clean punches in both MMA and in boxing. AJ has a very good left hook. He has a very good uppercut in close. He'll work to the body, mix it up, set up the head strikes with the body strikes, but he's gonna have to watch his volume in this fight because every time he throws, he is risking getting countered. And although he's gonna have a speed advantage, he's gonna be able to defend a lot of his shots. He's gonna be able to land and evade, but Francis just needs one. And if Francis lands the right punch, AJ is going down. Like I said, the check left hook to counter Joshua's right hand could be there, especially if Francis gets him to overextend on it. He could look to land it over the shoulder, or if AJ drops his hands, he's gotta be careful. He's gotta keep his hands up at all times, which he does a pretty good job of for the most part. Francis also has that uppercut. His two best punches are his left hook and his uppercut. He'll throw that uppercut from range or in tight. We saw him use it in the clinch against Tyson Fury very effectively. Not only upstairs, stairs, but Francis will also work to the body. We saw him use a body shot so effectively against Tyson Fury. It really drained Fury in the later rounds. He was using left hooks to the body. He was jabbing him to the body. The right cross to the body was probably his best body shot, and he can use those body punches not only to drain the energy out of AJ, but he can also use those body shots to get AJ to drop his hands, opening up the head. He could throw the right cross to the body, left hook upstairs, or he could go left jab to the body, right overhand. Francis has a nuke of an overhand, and a lot of those unorthodox techniques he brings over from MMA could work in boxing. He has a very different style than most traditional boxers AJ's used to seeing. Like his clinch work, it is rare that AJ goes up against someone who is just so much bigger than him. I can't even remember the last time AJ went up against someone who outsized him, who was bigger than him. Francis will be that guy. AJ will probably walk in the ring at about 240, I would say. Francis will probably walk in the 270s. He'll have over 30 pounds on him. He's also one of the only guys who can match Joshua as an athlete. And as I was saying a second ago, the unorthodox techniques he'll bring in, especially in the clinch, could give Joshua a ton of problems. Not only is Francis going to have a big size advantage, he's going to be stronger, he's going to be able to outmuscle AJ in the clinch, and he's also going to have insane control in the clinch backed behind his MMA background. He brought a lot of that over into the Tyson Fury fight, like the tie clinch and the body locks. Tyson Fury, who is a master in the clinch, amazing at knowing how to use his body weight, was getting beat in the clinch by Francis Ngannou. Francis was using these different techniques, created some separation, and stayed active in the clinch, especially with those uppercuts, as I said earlier. Now AJ will stay active there as well. He'll look for the left hooks, he'll look for the right uppercuts, but I think his best course of action would be to just separate back to range, keep space in between him and Ngannou. That's going to be his key here. Use his overall experience, use his speed advantage, put the jab on Francis, keep Francis on the end of that jab, counter those looping wide hooks with the right hand right down the center line. That's how AJ wins this fight, with space, with separation. Whereas Francis wants to get up close, get more in the pocket, look to the body, land the left hooks to the body, land the right crosses and jabs to the body from range, and then use those body shots to look upstairs. As I said, the jab to the body, right overhand, or right cross to the body, left hook combinations could be there for Francis. He could try and clinch up with AJ, look for some right hooks, some right uppercuts in the clinch, land some good punches there, just use his overall control and experience in the clinch over AJ, and then look for the check left hook off the break. That could definitely be there, but for my final prediction, I think it's way closer than a lot of people are saying. It seems like a lot of people think AJ is just going to run through Francis, which I think is crazy to say, especially how Francis looked against Fury. But for my final prediction, I'm gonna stick with AJ. He has the experience over Francis. This will be his 31st professional fight compared to Francis's second. He's got the speed advantage and the footwork advantage as well, which could be very important if Francis does decide to switch into southpaw to try and shut off that jab of AJ. I think the jabs and the 1-2s are going to constantly land for AJ. He's just the more technical boxer overall, and Francis is a little too hittable. Now, he does have a ridiculous chin, and he might have the chin to take AJ shots and return with good shots of his own, and I don't think AJ has the chin to take Francis's shots, which makes this fight very interesting. And if Francis is able to work around that jab and get in close, AJ could be in some trouble here, but I do think AJ will be able to pick out his openings here. Francis's defense isn't great. I think AJ will be able to counter a lot of what Francis does. So I will take Anthony Joshua, and I will take him by a decision. I think Francis does have the chin to take AJ's shots, but I could potentially see AJ getting a later round knockout, but I would not be surprised if Francis wins this fight. So that is my final prediction for Francis Ngannou versus Anthony Joshua. I have not been this excited about a boxing match since probably Terrence Crawford versus Earl Spence, and boxing is in a pretty good place right now. We got so many good fights coming up. I hope I'm wrong. I hope Francis does go out there and win. I love AJ. That's nothing against AJ, but Francis has really brought a whole new life to this heavyweight division and just boxing in general. He's making it so much more entertaining, and to see him fight for a belt against either Tyson Fury in a rematch or Alexander Usyk would be ridiculous. He's doing stuff I've never seen or never thought I would see done before. But anyways, that's the end of the video. If you are new here or you haven't done so already, it would mean a lot to me if you hit that subscribe button. As I said, we're getting pretty close to 1,000 subs. Also, make sure to turn on post notifications so you never miss an upload. My predictions for this weekend's UFC card, which is insanely stacked, will be out on Wednesday. Like the video if you did enjoy. Leave your predictions for this fight in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.